What's going on, everybody? Tankers Fantasy Football coming back at you here. We're going to give you a 12-team mock draft here, PPR format. Once again, we're using fantasy football calculator for all these mocks here to see where their ADPs are. For this one, I'm going to be taking at the 5 spot.
I'm going to be coming in at the 9 hole, and you know you got to use that fantasy football calculator. They're the only ones that get those updated ADPs for you. I mean, you go on these ESPNs or these other sites, and they are like 2 to 3 weeks behind. I mean, you can get Joe Mixon in the 7th or 8th round in those ESPNs and those Fox and those CBSs. And you got, I mean, Joe Mixon, we saw him going mid-3rd a couple days ago.
Yeah, he's been going about the 4th or 5th, but still, fantasy football calculator is the only way to go for these drafts.
We saw him go mid-3rd, though.
We did. He's going out there, there's legitimately 3 rookie running backs and 1 out of retirement, so we can count 4 of those going to the top 3 rounds.
Yeah.
All right. So, once again, I'm going at the 5 spot, and we had the first 3 go off the board. And there's no surprise, it's the first 3 running backs here. Le'Veon Bell off at number 1, David Johnson, Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, that's pretty chalk right there. I mean, usually those guys go 1, 2, 3, and the 4th pick's usually Antonio Brown. It was Antonio Brown. Then, it's kind of gets into like who you like better for the next 3 or 4 picks, I think, out of these wide receivers and running backs here.
Yeah, me personally, I feel like the top 6 is kind of set in stone between 3 running backs and Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham, and the guy who I'm going to take now, and Julio Jones here.
I mean, how can you deny that?
And Julio Jones, I feel like, has the highest ceiling of any NFL player out there. I'm talking any of these guys out there. I feel like his ceiling is just so monstrous.
I mean, you left that bad taste in your mouth last week and boning you in the playoffs by not playing football. But this guy, if he plays football, he has averaged
over 100 yards a game.
Oh my goodness, over 100 yards a game the last 4 seasons, people. Oh my goodness, and this guy, I mean, he's never really been that big touchdown guy. He's only had that 10 touchdown year in 2012, so he's kind of like the Andre Johnson type, where he just gets like 100 receptions and then like a shit ton of yardage out there. And I mean, if this guy plays 16 games, you can write him down for 1,500 yards.
Oh, you can write him. He plays 16 games. He's going to get you 120 catches, 16 to 1,800 yards.
I mean, if he can squeak in another 9 or 10 touchdowns, we're talking about number 1 fantasy wide receiver with those sexy boy numbers.
So we had Odell go off at 6, and now we had 2 running backs go off, which is kind of a surprise for me. Melvin Gordon and LaShawn McCoy went before Mike Evans here.
Yeah.
And
AJ Green. I think I would have taken... I mean, this has surprised me because I was hoping to get either Mike Evans or AJ Green at the 9 hole, and I got both. And I got the pick of either of them here, and I'm not really sure what to do. But I think since this is a redraft, I think I'm going to go all in on AJ Green here. I think he has less people to take targets from him, and I think all in. I'm in love with him. I think their ceilings are about comparable, but I think if AJ Green's on the football field, his floor is just a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree. And back to Melvin Gordon and LaShawn McCoy, I actually do like Melvin Gordon going that early, but LaShawn McCoy still does scare me in the mid to, even in the late first still is kind of scary.
Yeah, I do love you, McCoy, but man, you are paying the price, and he better do what he did last year, because you are paying the piper for him at that 7 overall spot, or 8 overall. Devontae Freeman went at 10. Mike Evans is still available. What is happening, people? Oh, there he went at 11. Somebody finally. That guy just
That will be the best pick he probably makes all draft.
I mean, that guy just got the hookup. They handed him Mike Evans. If I was in the 11th hole getting Mike Evans, I'd be fucking so excited right now. We got 2 wide receivers going at the turn, and Jordy and T.Y. Hilton. I mean, getting pretty much some good value right there.
I mean, that's probably the earliest I've seen T.Y. go. He's usually about that mid-second, but I don't know if I've ever seen him go at 13 overall.
Taking him over Michael Thomas, I wouldn't do. Yeah, I wouldn't have done that.
I feel like Michael Thomas's ceiling is ridiculously high.
I would have probably gone Jordy and Michael Thomas there if I was going to go receiver.
All right.
We got Jay Ajayi, and then
we got Michael Thomas
I was really hoping to get me some AJ Green and Michael Thomas. Well, it's not the score, so I'm looking at the wide receivers available. I'm looking at the likes of Cooper, Dez, and Brandon Cooks. I think Brandon Cooks is the best available, and I think that's paying the piper too early on a Brandon Cooks. And since I drafted AJ Green in the first, I don't like that Brandon Cooks right here, the 4th pick in the 2nd round. I'm going to wait on giving you some Chicago Bears. Give me a guy who had as many 100-yard games last season as Ezekiel Elliott. I'm going to give you some Jordan Howard.
I mean, they were an awful football team last year, but that did not stop him. He still produced for you. I think he's still going to be a very, very strong RB1 for you. I really don't see, if he's playing how he's at worst, a top 10 back.
And next pick here, we got Amari Cooper.
That's it early for me.
Yeah, I would have definitely probably gone. I would have gone Cook. If you're going to go receiver, I would have gone Cooks there. We got Leonard Fournette. I mean, his ADP is just skyrocketed. People, we're talking mid-second all day long.
I did see Leonard, like we said, one time we've seen him go in the 1st round, which is insane.
That's insanity. But if you're looking at average draft position, he's going mid-second all day long. I mean, he used to be going. Back in early June there, I was scooping him up in that mid-4th, early 5th. I really was.
Yeah, you have to give him the 2nd round if you want him, because he's not coming back to you in that 3rd round.
On the cover of magazines, people are seeing how man-beast he is and his
how
ADP.
Old he looks.
Yeah, I mean, I know he does. You know, he's not old, but he looks 30, and he is a man-beast out the man amongst boys, and I'm all in on it.
All right, for me, I am extremely happy that DeMarco went just before me. I feel like DeMarco's mid-2nd round price is extremely high for a guy
too
like
high for me.
A guy for like Derrick Henry had 5 touchdowns in his last 6 games. Already talking splitting roles. I'm just not in love with him being a workhorse back. And if you're drafting him in the 2nd round, I feel like you have to demand a workhorse.
I think this might be the RB1, the solidified RB1 cliff here. What you're about to do.
Yeah, I feel like my only option here is Marshawn Lynch, and we talked about him once again in some mocks that he was going in the 4th or 5th round, but those days are long gone. If you want him, he's gonna be a 2nd round pick. I've seen him in the 1st round as well, like the 12th pick overall.
He was another guy who was going late 4th, early 5th, like about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I mean, yeah, the 5th spot, you're in a tough spot because if one of those 3 running backs doesn't somehow fall into your lap, I mean, you have to take wide receiver.
Yeah.
You have to take wide receivers. So, I mean, if you really need an RB1 and you're not looking to totally go all out and not have one, I mean, you have to take it on that 2nd round because, I mean, Marshawn Lynch, I mean, who else was there? Lamar Miller? I mean, no. Todd Gurley, I mean, not in love with that whatsoever.
And the Crow.
I like the Crow, but not in that. I mean, my goodness.
You can't pay a
RB1 Crow? RB1 Crow is the bad news.
Dez Bryant. I mean, this is a guy who I'm also not in love with, especially for his current draft position. This guy had only, 6 more catches than Terrence Williams
I think it was maybe 9 or something. It was single-digit more catches than Terrence Williams, and I just cannot.
I think it was 6.
I think maybe, I don't know, but whatever it was bad. and that late to mid-2nd round for Dez Bryant is just something that I can't get on board with. And Gronkowski, another guy that first tight end off the board here. I mean, how are you going to do? We did a tight end video about Kelsey, had 600-yard games last season. The only guy who had more 100-yard receiving games than Kelsey was Julio Jones. And I mean, how are you going to take a guy like Rob Gronkowski who has 3 back surgeries here in the late 2nd?
Yeah, if I'm going to, I would take Kelsey in the 3rd all day long over Gronk in the 2nd. So Brandon Cooks, the guy who you kind of thought about, but it would have been totally paying up for it.
Paying the piper.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks is off the board, so we get to the turn. We got Todd Gurley in the 1st quarterback, Aaron Rodgers off. I'm not big on drafting quarterback. I'm really not big on drafting quarterbacks.
I'm not talking about what are people doing drafting Aaron Rodgers. I'm talking about what are people doing on the pick right after Aaron Rodgers, and that's Keenan Allen. I mean, my God, this guy's average draft position just won't go away, and he doesn't play football, people. What the fuck is happening?
I mean, I like Keenan Allen, but there's no way I'm paying a 3rd round price. Like, people don't realize his current draft position does not have to be a third round.
That's ridiculous.
If you keep drafting him at a third round.
I think at best this guy is a 6th round, and I don't even really feel good about it then.
I feel like if he's a 5th or 6th round, you can try, but a third round.
Yeah, no way I'm paying that 3rd round price. That is disgusting. Dude, no way. That's
I feel
ridiculous.
like you don't take that pick, but if he pans out, you tap the guy in the shoulder and say, nice pick at the end of the year, but it's not going to be me paying that price.
I know Doug Baldwin isn't necessarily a sexy pick, but you have to take Doug Baldwin over Keenan Allen.
Even Terrell Pryor, we've talked about, even Demarius Thomas, his floor is
the floor
so
of Demarius Thomas
good.
and Doug Baldwin are just so good for guys like Keenan Allen who can't stay on the football field. We got another couple. Lamar Miller, guy I'm not really in love with, going. Tom Brady, another quarterback. I'm not really into drafting quarterbacks really either. There's Doug Baldwin. There we go.
Because that's me.
Oh, you bastard.
We were talking about the nice floors there. I picked Doug Baldwin there. I feel like, he has a very nice floor. And,
I know what you do out there. You gotta take the floors, baby.
I do. And for my second wide receiver, I'm kind of in love with it.
Oh, yeah. You're looking at guys available. Doug Baldwin.
I thought about Terrell Pryor, but once again, I feel like that is a little early for that price. And Demarius Thomas doesn't excite me that much, especially when he's got other competition there. And Doug Baldwin really is the only guy in Seattle.
Yeah, he solidified himself as a very solid low-end wide receiver 1. All right, we got the Crow off the list. Travis Kelce was the man who should be drafted at the number 1 tight end. We got Demarius Thomas go off the board. All right, he's climbing back up.
Yeah,
he was going mid-4th.
He was creeping down the 4th. I even saw him in a 5th.
Oh my goodness! People are just giving him no respect. Mike, the guy just is going to get 1,000 yards somehow, some way.
He's guaranteed somehow to get at least 90 catches for 1,000 yards. It's got to happen. 7 to 8 touchdowns. Lock it up.
He absolutely has to. All right, I'm up. And that guy we were just talking about, I'm absolutely in love with him going to Washington. I'm going to take the ceiling of Terrell Pryor here in the 3rd. I'm in love with him, people. I really am. He's going out there. And I know there's more guys. There's guys that probably have a little bit better floor than Terrell Pryor that are still available, like in Devontae Adams and maybe a Landry. But I'm in love. Who's the second? I'd take. Allen Robinson is still there, but I don't give a damn. Terrell Pryor all day. There goes Devontae Adams. Speaking of the devil,
that's probably the highest though I've seen Adams go.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't know if I've ever seen a 3rd round Devontae Adams.
For all the sexiness he did last year, he did not get 1,000 yards receiving.
The 7th overall receiver and failed to hit 1,000 yards.
I know he's eating up on those touchdowns, but if Jordy's going to be still around for a year or 2.
Is still capped until Jordy's gone.
If Randall Cobb can resurrect the power of the urn somehow, Devontae Adams kind of scares me a little bit with that late 3rd round price. He's a guy that I can see letting you down. If his touchdowns go down a tick, those yards are not going to be there for you.
He could be possibly this year's Allen Robinson.
Yeah, he could.
He getting drafted so much higher, but kind of lets you down at the end of the year. Right, Christian McCaffrey, the 2nd rookie running back off the board there.
Oh, this guy just took 2 big-time 2016 shit-to-bed first-rounders and Hopkins and Allen Robinson. This guy's hoping the resurrection. He's taking 4 straight wide receivers, and he is hoping and praying the resurrection of Hopkins and Robinson happens because his lack of running backs is going to kill him if it doesn't. All right, coming back to me, we got Joe Mixon. Almost in that 3rd. Second pick of the 4th. Second pick of the 4th. Creeping up, baby. We're not lying out there on the tankers. I got Alshon just went. I kind of like the ceiling of Alshon, but his floor is pretty bad. We've seen last year with the 100-yard game.
Week 1 he got you 100 yards, did not hit it the entire season.
100-yard game, only 2 touchdowns in it, scored until week 8. It's awful. Everything you say about Alshon Jeffrey 2016 is terrible.
But you feel like that's the worst it could get, you'd hope.
I do love the Tyreek Hill pick here. I mean, but I did take Pryor this last pick, so that was kind of, I'm kind of shooting for the stars on that pick, so I might have to reel it back a little bit here because you can't shoot for the stars. You can't shoot for the stars all the time because that's how you end up not making the fantasy playoffs. All right, so I'm going to go a little safe guy, little guy I think you can write down for 90 to 100 receptions. Take some Jarvis Landry here. I'm not really a Jarvis Landry lover, but I think his floor is very sexy.
I mean, this guy was borderline wide receiver 1 last year, and he did it very boring fashion.
Boring. I mean, if you want 12 points, he is your boy. I mean, he's going to get it done for you. And sometimes you need that 12 points.
Don't you
really do.
You need to grind out that 13 to 16 every now and then, and you just kind of like you said, you got to have a nice mixture of these guys that have the very high ceiling, but with those high ceilings, they come with very low floors. So you got to throw some conservative picks out there just to kind of keep your points locked in there.
Keep your feet on the ground out there.
All right, Jordan Reed's off. Then we got 2 wide receivers in Larry Fitzgerald, which 4th round Larry Fitzgerald for me is I'm not even thinking about him in the 4th round.
We talked about his season splits last season, and it was absolutely gross. He averaged 19.5 in like the first, 9 weeks, and then he only averaged 10.5 for like the last 7 8
Yeah, he didn't even reach his average the last half of the season.
His lowest point in PPR in the first 10 weeks was higher than his average for the last 6. That is absolutely garbage.
All right, Michael Crabtree in the 4th round, I feel like that's great value. I feel like he's the real guy to get in Oakland because they're both going to have the same production at the end of the year, and you can wait 2 full rounds after.
2 full rounds. Two full rounds and a couple picks later, you get Michael Crabtree.
So you went, with the risky 3rd rounder and the conservative 4th rounder, and I'm doing the opposite here. I had the Doug Baldwin. I'm dying here. Doug Baldwin 3rd round, 4th round, Tyreek Hill. Baby.
Oh yeah, you got that high floor in the 3rd, and you went for that high ceiling in the 4th.
I mean, this is a guy who saw 40 snaps once last year.
40 snaps one time last year,
and he only had like 20 PPR points less than Amari Cooper. 11 less than Amari
PPR
Cooper.
points less than Amari Cooper, and he only played 40 snaps in one game. That is incredible.
Basically means he played half a season.
Yeah. He was basically like a Devin Hester type on offense when Devin Hester was playing offense, and Devin Hester wasn't doing shit. Like, Tyreek Hill's out there getting it done, but getting it done in very limited fashion. Like we said, 11 PPR points fewer than the guys like Amari Cooper, who are like undoubted total sexies, and they're playing, full snaps all the time and just not getting it done.
I'm really not in love with Cooper whatsoever.
Amari Cooper had 13 red zone targets last year, converted on 0 of them.
Crabtree 6.
21 targets for Crabtree, converted on 6 of them. I mean, that's not undieable sexy, but that's not 13-0.
All right, Tyreek Hill's going to be on the field every single snap this year.
Oh, all of it.
Except for maybe some red zone action, but
some picks here. Some Ty Montgomery, Drew Brees, Martavis Bryant flying up. That's pretty high on the Martavis Bryant. Julian Edelman, Crowder. I kind of like those. That's some conservative little guys that are going to catch a lot of balls for you in PPR. I love it. Oh, and Golden Tate, which, it's kind of a conservative play.
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of your poor man's Landry.
That's not a shooting for the stars sexy boy play whatsoever.
But like we said, he got Cooks, Keenan Allen, Martavis Bryant, all guys that are shooting for the moon. So maybe Golden Tate's a guy that he can lean on a little bit.
Good Lord, he better. Keenan Allen and Martavis Bryant better play football for him. Who's he got? Spencer Ware, who I'm not on at all. Carlos Hyde, who Roto World's talking about, but I'm still not really falling in love with him.
No. All right, I'm going to get another running back here, and this is a guy who I think actually can sneak up into that RB1 discussion, especially if something ever happens to Freeman, and that's Tevin Coleman. This guy started off hot out of the gate for you. played well for you when he was on the field. He gets catches. He's explosive. He can find his way to the end zone. So him as my second running back, I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, that's fine. Nice sexy boy out there. Running him.
5th round, LeGarrette
Oh,
Blount.
that's unsavory. I mean, I don't know.
I know what he did last year, but
yeah.
they're talking wanting to limit him to like 170
Yeah,
carries.
we're talking different team, different situation. I just don't. I mean, he had 18 touchdowns last year. I don't think you can slice those in half easy.
Oh, yeah, I would put the guess over-under right at 9.
Yeah, I think you can slice those touchdowns in half easy. And he's not going to be catching ball. You know, they're saying they're going to be throwing the ball, but I think they're lying.
He's had like 30 catches in his career.
Yeah, they're lying out there to you. And another Sammy Watkins and Brandon Marshall. I mean, those are guys I don't really want, so I guess I'm down with them. But them being drafted before me here, but I'm looking at it. And the running back, I mean, there's a couple of running backs that I'm down with, but I think I'll be able to still get one of them here on my way back in the 6th. And I mean, the wide receivers, there's just nobody that I'm really looking at right now. We got Kelvin Benjamin and Moncrief and Willie Snead and, I mean, Diggs and as the top available right now. And I'm just not on that at all, so I think I'm going to do something I usually don't do and draft some old reliable tight end, a guy who's had 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons for a tight end with at least 77 receptions in each of those seasons, and I'm going Greg Olsen right here, baby. A little unconventional. A little unconventional for me.
You don't see that too much there.
No, but I'm in
5th round, Greg Olsen for you.
I'm to hell with it. I mean, Jordan Reed drafted over Greg Olsen. I mean, I'm saying Greg Olsen's floor is so much sexier than Jordan Reed. And you know he's holding out. And I'm not really on to people holding out, but he's getting paid less than Charles Clay. So holdouts be damned. He needs to get motherfucking paid more than Charles Clay. It's ridiculous.
We had a bunch of guys go. We had Doug Martin, who they're saying he looks like the Doug Martin of old, but I am not in love with it whatsoever. Willie Snead in the 5th round I can't get on that. I think Willie Snead is a good dart play if he was like a 7th to 8th rounder, but if we're talking 5th round Willie Snead, I can't get excited about it. I feel like he's just kind of another guy there.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't really. I don't think Willie Snead's very sick. I mean, this that guy's wide receiver too, and I'm totally not on that whatsoever.
All right, the guy who took 4 wide receivers at the turn. Oh, he did himself in. I feel like he took C.J. Anderson, Balil Powell. A couple weeks ago, I would be saying Balil Powell, but they're kind of saying Matt Forte might even be the workhorse somehow, and I don't see how that is happening whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, this is muddy the waters, him coming out talking Forte.
I mean, you would think that they would be all in on the Balil Powell train, but they're not yet, and that does scare you. All right, then we had Moncrief, who I feel like I really like Moncrief, especially at that 6th round there.
Adrian Peterson coming up to me. I was kind of thinking about Peterson, but that's not really a pick that I really wanted to make, so I'm glad somebody else did it for me. Now I'm going some shoot the moon upside right now with my 2nd running back, so I'm going to have to get some other running backs later in the draft to kind of maybe build my backfield up, because this is shooting for the moon and Dalvin Cook here. But I think
your
RB2 Dalvin Cook. But I'm thinking, I mean, I've seen him go in the 5th, and I think in the 6th round here, I think he's going to get the work, and if he does, I think he's going to put up very solid RB2 numbers.
All right, Danny Woodhead off, and I'm kind of feeling the Woodhead back on the train. They're saying he's probably going to be ready, totally 100% here. There's a report that they lost track of how much he was catching the ball. He's already had multiple like 75-yard reception seasons. And Joe Flacco says this is the best running back he's had since Ray Rice. And if he can do anything close to what Ray Rice was doing in his prime, I feel like 6th round could return some value somehow for the 30-some-year-old Danny Woodhead.
Yeah, I don't know. 6th round is kind of a pain in the piper. I'd like it to be more in that 8th, 9th round for old Danny Woodhead, but it isn't. So if you're on board with it, I guess he could get done for you. I mean, he's his RB2 too, so we're kind of on the dicey RB2 boards out there together, so I'm kind of feeling him. We got, what, another Amir Abdullah? I mean, I guess I'd take Danny Woodhead over Amir Abdullah. He just went off the board. We got Delaney Walker, and we got you on the board here in the late 6th.
I'm taking a guy who I would take over Danny Woodhead. And I know a lot of people are saying, you know, I'm not going to draft any New England running back. You can't draft it. But I think you can draft this guy and Mike Gillislee. I mean, this guy got it done for you last year as a rookie, practically 10.
Yeah, I almost drafted him over Dalvin Cook, but I just had to go for that unknown rookie PPR upside. I think Dalvin Cook's going to be catching some balls out there.
I think he can get 10 touchdowns again for you.
Yeah, I mean, Gillislee is paying for a much better football team than Cook is, so.
Not to mention, he's probably going to be the starter in New England, looking for that LeGarrette Blount role when he was behind Shady last year and still produced.
If you could have guaranteed me right now, Gillislee's getting every 1st and 2nd down look, I would have totally taken him over Dalvin Cook all day. Until we see some preseason games, we don't really know that situation. If you can guarantee me
he's a guy that you need to watch to see whose stock how quickly he can rise there.
Oh, if he's looking a sexy boy in the preseason, we could be talking late August, late 3rd maybe. It's gonna be it could absolutely skyrocket. Eifert, Calvin Benjamin, Eddie Lacy's garbage pick.
They're now talking that Rawls and Lacy could be expected to split carries there. And Rawls is getting absolutely no respect. I think he's a tremendous late round flyer.
I think you can get Rawls
incredible. He's getting drafted 3rd on his own team.
You can get him like 3 or 4 rounds later than the likes of Lacy. Jimmy Graham and Macklin going. I kind of like the Macklin pick right there. We got Emmanuel Sanders.
I like Macklin and Sanders.
Yeah,
there.
I think Emmanuel Sanders is good 1,000-yard value in that early 7th round pick. I mean, he gets no respect too. I mean, then Stephon Diggs, which, you know, kind of whatever. Here's what he is. We talked about Diggs. He shoots it up for the first like 3 or 4 weeks, and then he just kind of falls flat on his face out there for you. And then we got Derrick Henry.
Yeah, he's got some believers out there.
His running backs are Ty Montgomery, Carlos Hyde, and Derrick Henry, and the only thing I have any hopes for in that is kind of Ty Montgomery.
Yeah.
I mean DeMarco Murray isn't going to get the numbers that he did last year, and Henry is going to eat into him, but if DeMarco Murray is on the football field, Derrick Henry is virtually unstartable in fantasy.
Yeah, I feel like you can't feel good about him throwing him in your starting lineup unless DeMarco's injured. Like, even if he has a couple games where he gets in the end zone, I just have a tough time throwing him out there.
Yeah.
All right, I'm looking at these guys, and I'm kind of in the spot you were in when you took tight end early. And I feel like I'm going to go quarterback here, and I normally do let the ship sail on quarterbacks for a while. But in the 7th round, Matt Ryan, I mean, this guy was a very, very, very high-end quarterback for you last year, and for the 7th round, I feel like the value is at that position way more than anything else I'm looking at. So I'm going to take Matt Ryan here.
Start a little quarterback run. We got Derek Carr and Andrew Luck going off the board.
Derek Carr with that huge new deal.
Ooh, good for him.
I do love Derek Carr. He is a great guy. He's gonna buy Chick-fil-A with that money too.
Babe, buy me some Chick-fil-A. Derek Carr, Andrew Luck, and then we got another unsavory pick before me and Randall Cobb. Not really on that. I'm gonna take some. I mean, this isn't really a PPR guy, but for my 4th wide receiver, I think this is the type of guy who can go out there and get you 150 yards and a touchdown or 2 at any given moment. Going down to Tampa Bay to play with Jameis Winston and get some D-Jacks. And I'm kind of loving that late 7th round D-Jacks out there.
Yeah, I'm loving more that he's your 4th wide receiver.
Yeah.
I think him as your 4th wide receiver is awesome. Having that guy you can kind of wait on, and if you're playing 2 flex leagues, your 2nd flex, and you almost guarantee he's going to be the better 2nd flex on about any other team.
With the likes of Greg Olsen and D-Jacks in my 2nd flex, and it kind of makes up for old Dalvin Cook being my RB2 at the moment out there. Then okay, we got some Kyle Rudolph.
That's pretty good value.
Pretty good
7th
value.
round.
Tight end. We got
second tight end last year.
4th ranked tight end in our tight end vid, old Kyle Rudolph. Got Paul Perkins, who I kind of thought about, but I just can't get on the Giants running back situation. God. It's terrible.
They're going to be throwing the ball.
Yeah, I just can't get involved in anything Giants running backs. Old Dusty Frank Gore, who eventually has to die. I'm not going to say he's dead now, but hey, my goodness, he's only scored, what, he only had 1 touchdown after week 7 last year?
I feel like last year we thought it was the year that he was going to fade off, but I really think it's this year.
I really think it's this year. I mean, he really faded. He turned it down hardcore the second half of the season last year for you, and I think that's going to continue into this year.
All right, we had a huge quarterback.
If he doesn't, if Frank Gore goes out there and gets you a solid week 2 through 3, I'd say sell high on him.
Yeah.
See what you can get.
All right, we had another 3 quarterbacks in a row here. We had Big Ben, Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson. All right.
What
you looking at
I'm
here?
not in love. I'm not in love with this, but like I said, my second running back is Dalvin Cook. I mean, Adrian Peterson, if he can't stay on the field, this is a full 2 rounds after. I'm going to take Mark Ingram here and just hopes that, he could somehow sneak into my starting lineup.
You just kind of hope that he just plays what he's capable of.
Yeah, I'm not in love with this pick by any means, but I just think the value here in the mid-8th is just fairly decent.
That is pretty incredible when you're looking at the value. And he had a great year last year, and he's an 8th round pick.
Yeah.
But Adrian Peterson hype has gotten crazy, and people are just loving on him way more than Ingram.
Riddick gone.
Pierre Garçon.
People are taking Perrine over Rob Kelly all day, and I know I took Dalvin Cook over Tavius Murray, but I just don't know. That Washington running back situation is maybe. I like Perrine, but geez, an eighth rounder. This guy's 4th running back though.
We said early that Perrine is going to be the possibly week 1 starter for Washington. He's certainly getting drafted like he is.
Yeah, he better be.
All right. I'm kind of feeling the cliff fall a little bit on tight ends. I was really hoping Rudolph would fall to me. I'm going to get Martellus Bennett here. And I'm not really in love with that pick because I know he's going to have huge weeks. But Aaron Rodgers really doesn't utilize the tight ends that well.
Oh, you could just disappear for 2 or 3 weeks straight and then hit you with a 2 touchdown week after that, after you put him on the bench.
So sometimes if I really let these tight ends go here and get one late, I feel like I have to get one pretty soon right after, just so I can get 2 decent ceiling guys instead of letting the ship completely sail. All right, Devontae Parker, John Brown, both pretty disappointing years last year.
I'd rather have Devontae Parker over John Brown. I don't know, just Palmer scares me. I don't know. I'm kind of afraid of anything pass catching going on in Arizona, besides David Johnson, of course. We had Tavius Murray go off, which is, something. That could turn into, making me look like a dipshit with his late 8th round pick taken with Tavius Murray when I took Dalvin Cook out there in the 6th, but I don't know. I think with Tavius Murray, who was living and dying off that great Oakland offensive line, with that gone, I just think he's a guy that can only get what's blocked for him, and I don't think that's necessarily going to be there in Minnesota.
He's too much of a stand-up runner, and Minnesota really does not have a great offensive line. So I think Dalvin Cook is definitely more elusive and kind of create his own plays, and Murray is definitely not that guy. All right, Eric Decker and Tyrell Williams off. I do like Eric Decker, though. I feel like, out of all the Titans receivers, I really feel like he's going to have the most fantasy points between the 3.
I think he could lead those receivers in touchdowns easily. He's a touchdown hawk, and Eric Decker out there. Tyrell Williams is some guy, I don't know, that's just something I'm not really interested in, I guess. Yeah. I'm not, I guess. I don't know. Some things you like, some things you don't. I don't like Tyrell Williams. I think it's a dead zone. I don't like it. It's a dead zone. He's dead. He flirted with a little bit of sexiness last year for 3 or 4 weeks, and that was his thing, All right, we got some Marcus Mariota, which I'm kind of on. You know, my love for him.
I really feel like Mariota and Winston are going to be top 10 quarterbacks this
I'm hoping
year.
Winston slides to me in this very round as we speak. We got CJ Procise go, and then we got Cam go. I mean, taking Mariota over Cam, this guy is saying something right here.
He's in love.
This guy
it is Cam's year statistically. Every other year he turns it on
Cam
for
is
it.
your undeniable sex, and this is that year. And so if you're on it, and we're talking about mid-9th for Cam, I think that is a very good price for you.
And we're talking like
especially in most leagues, you know, who award more points for rushing yards.
And we're talking like almost the 15th quarterback taken here.
Yeah, that's pretty deep here.
All right, I'm going to get pure upside here. I've only got 3 wide receivers so far. So I'm going to pick Corey Davis from Tennessee. I know I just said Eric Decker will probably lead the Titans in fantasy points, but if there's any guy who's absolutely going to blow it up for the Titans, Corey Davis is the only guy with that kind of potential.
Yeah. We got Mike Williams.
Back-to-back rookie wide receivers off the board.
Yeah, another Ram wide receiver. Or not Ram. I just saw LA and got excited about the Rams. Another Charger wide receiver gone here in the 9th round. Kareem Hunt just went. I was hoping to maybe get him in another round or so. God damn it. God damn it. Things happen out there. Matt Forte, I can have him. My pick, Jameis Winston, still available. I'm feeling like this is the cliff unless you want to dabble into the Eli. And I do like Stafford is still there. I mean, Stafford is a very sexy
Eli,
play.
I feel like
very sexy play for you. But if you're shooting for the stars, I think Jameis Winston has that chance to leap into top 5 fantasy points this year in quarterbacks. I'm going to go all in on him. I'm going to get some of them 80-yard Winston D-Jack connections. You just know I am.
Double dip chip on those.
I am getting up on that. Oh, there's Fat Rob. Fat Rob sliding.
Going over a full round.
Oh, Hunter Henry just went. The tight end cliff is approaching.
It's done.
I think there's about one more, and he's a dad runner. And we got Cameron Meredith, #1 Bear wide receiver, which is kind of up in the air now. Little Dirty Victor is hanging out.
Kevin White, they're saying, could be the #1 guy.
Oh, for a quarter or so. He's hurt and done. What we got going on here?
Kenneth Dixon.
Dixon coming back.
I mean, me personally, I feel like Kenneth Dixon is undraftable. I feel like they brought in Woodhead, and he's good. They're basically the same guy, but Woodhead's far more consistent, has a head on his shoulders. So,
yeah, I think anybody outside of Woodhead is undraftable for the Ravens backfield.
Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely gross. Who we got coming back to me? Marvin Jones.
I feel like Marvin Jones.
That's good value for Marvin Jones.
Yeah, I feel like he'll be a lot more consistent.
Sure,
this
why
year.
not?
He has to be. With Anquan Bolton out of the picture, I think he's gonna be more reliable for you.
We got some Corey Coleman. Right now it's back to me. We were talking about it earlier about Eddie Lacy going in that 6th round. It is the 10th round, and I'm about to get Thomas Rawls, who I think will be the one taking over the workhorse of that load. Maybe 3-4 weeks into the season, he could be seeing 60 to 70% of the carries.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that Thomas Rawls is the best running back on this team.
Yeah.
If he can stay healthy, there's no doubt he's going to be leading this team in carries. All right, James White. I mean, that's not bad value. I mean, that's definitely the PPR guy to own in New England. I feel like Dion Lewis you can't get in on that whatsoever. All right, Eli Manning that we talked about, who I feel like really is going to have a nice year this year. They bring in all these weapons, and I feel like he's going to be might even sneak into that top 12 quarterbacks there. #1. Talking about
Eli Manning could easily be a low-end QB1 for you. Bringing in Brandon Marshall, Sterling Shepard's still in town. Evan Ingram's hanging out now. That's why I'm just not on Paul Perkins. They're just going to slang it. They're just going to clang and bang and slang it all day long with that football.
All right, like I said, I got the Martellus Bennett early, but I can't fall in love with that on a week-to-week basis. So I'm going to get another tight end here. It's my second one in 3 rounds. I'm going to get Jack Doyle, and we talked about this in our tight end video. I feel like he is the last guy that you can feel good about on a week-to-week basis throwing out there.
I mean, Zach Ertz did have a shit ton of receptions in a couple of weeks there toward the end of the season, but Zach Ertz is unsexy as it gets. Man.
Jack Doyle played well, and I feel like Dwayne Allen walking out the door to New England solidifies him as a nice tight end play.
Oh yeah, good quarterback and an offense that has to throw the football.
Oh, it's such an unsexy tight end play that could pay big dividends for you in the 10th round.
Here's a barf pick coming at you, Jamal Charles. Then we got Quincy Enunwa, late 10th. I'm not really hating on the Quincy.
I like it. I like the Enunwa.
He could be a wide receiver 3 for you.
He has legitimate upside. He's got. I mean, if McCown is the quarterback, I really think he could sneak up into that maybe back end wide receiver 2,
Borderline. Top 25 maybe, yeah, but I'm saying
he's going to be a solid wide receiver 3 if McCown's the quarterback.
Decent flex play, solid bye week option. I am not a hater on Quincy Enunwa. Finally, Stafford is gone. Stafford hung it out to that late 10th round. I mean, my goodness, Stafford, he's gone. Rodgers, and we got Joe Williams, who I'm down with throwing a dart on.
I am. I think Carlos Hyde is, I feel like, especially for his average draft position, he can't get in on it. I mean, this guy did almost have 1,000 yards last year, but once again, Carlos Hyde, you can't trust him. And you bring in a new head coach, a new regime. I mean, Shanahan is the running back whisperer, turning Freeman, the 4th rounder, into a number 1 fantasy pick, and now he's bringing in his own Joe Williams, pounding on tables
for old Joe Williams out there.
Him.
Joe Williams can learn the playbook and get on board, and if Carlos Hyde falls out of favor, gets injured like Carlos Hyde likes to do, we're talking about Joe Williams taking over this. I know it's still the San Francisco 49ers, so I mean the ceiling is pretty low out there, but we're going to be talking Joe Williams being a back-end RB2.
I mean, if we're talking, you give me $100 to try and bet on who's going to be this year's Jordan Howard, I'm going to say it's going to be Joe Williams.
It's got to be Joe, yeah. I'm all in on it. It's got to be Joe Williams. Some dude that was drafted later rounds, and people are, never really fallen in love with it going to those late rounds in the fantasy drafts. People are like, it's a bad football team, and that's a player who's not really on anybody's radar. Then boom, pow, watch out now, 700-yard games. I don't know if Joe Williams can do 107-yard games like Jordan Howard did because
107-yard games.
107-yard games. Boom, he's out there grinding for years.
Well, we were rambling.
Doing nothing.
700 yards. We were rambling. We had Duke Johnson. I took John Ross, and then there's some other picks go off. I'm going to talk John. I'm going to talk John Ross quick before we go to your pick because you're about up. John Ross, we're talking the rookie for Cincinnati. I feel like he is just going to shoot up the depth chart. He's going to pass LaFell. He's going to pass Boyd, who they got there. And I really feel like he's going to be a pretty decent player for you. I feel like he might be a guy who laid down the stretch can play a flex role.
All right,
so we had
a defense guy.
We had Uncle Phil go. We had Zach Ertz.
There he goes. And this, I'm going to take a guy who I'm not at all endorsing. I mean, I don't know. This has just gone too far. It's the 11th round. I mean, the McCaffrey hype. I mean, my goodness. I mean, is this guy really going to go out there and be love you sexy every single play? I mean, we haven't seen any of that yet. So I'm going to take Jonathan Stewart here in the late 11th, and I'm not really feeling good about it. But my guess, my 5th running back, I mean, I'm not.
There's a point where a guy just falls too much, and you say, even if I hate this guy, I mean, how bad is he really?
How bad is he? Yeah, I mean, my
That's what you're going to say. You're going to say, how bad did this guy really get?
How bad is he really?
I mean, he's bad, but...
I mean, who's to say Jonathan Stewart doesn't outscore the likes of what? Frank Gore, who went 4 or 5 rounds ahead of him.
Even Matt Forte.
Yeah, ridiculous.
All right. Dak Prescott off. We got Jamal Williams, the Green Bay rookie, going off there.
Guns. He's got guns, 24-inch pythons. He's got them.
Andy Dalton? I feel like Andy Dalton's a great backup quarterback to have.
Yeah.
The Red Rifle will win you some weeks out there if you need it.
Jordan Matthews, I think he's falling out of favor. We're talking about the likes of Nelson Aguilar might be eating into his snaps, and that is.
I mean, the guy had hands like bricks last year. This guy's looking better in camp than Jordan Matthews.
Yeah, that's bad news because we got Alshon Jeffrey, and we got Torrey Smith for some reason. And Aguilar's eating into his snaps. I mean, my goodness, Jordan Matthews' value is in the tank out there.
I feel like if you don't draft Alshon, you don't draft any other Philadelphia wide receiver,
right,
no matter what. I mean, you know how deep it gets. You can't do it.
I mean, I'm going to draft a guy whose ceiling probably isn't that high, but we're talking about at least he's going to be on the fucking football field playing football for his football team. We're talking about Adam Thielen, and early to mid 12th round. I am not hating on old Adam Thielen whatsoever.
I absolutely love Adam Thielen. I would much rather have him on my team than Diggs, especially when we're talking what? I mean,
it's 12th round.
I mean, we're talking. Where's Diggs on here? I gotta find him here again.
He's getting drafted. Where is this damn dick bum? This is taking forever.
7th round.
Early 7th.
We're talking 5 ditties.
Oh,
we're talking 5 ditties later. That's what we're talking about.
I mean,
we're talking about a guy who had a humongous week, so I feel like he does have some ceiling on him that could be crazy.
He might be like a poor man's like Edelman or something out there with a little more size.
I mean, if you're talking 12th round, you're talking about a guy who's probably going to play flex for you throughout the season.
You can cut bait on him anytime if you don't.
I mean, I really think he's going to find his way into your starting lineup as a 12th round pick. Josh Doxson, I mean, he's going to be behind Crowder. He's going to be behind Pryor. He's going to be behind Jordan Reed. But they drafted him early last year, so they do like him. But I mean, that's not a bad dart play.
Jordan Matthews, who's valued is even murkier with the Eric Decker signing. Got Cole Beasley, who caught a lot more almost 20 more balls than
Cole Beasley is not an exciting pick at all, but I feel like he's a guy who definitely can help you to win a title. Guy who you can draft late, and on bye weeks you can throw him in and he can get you 15
his
points.
His ceiling is so low, though. His ceiling is so low. All right, you're up here.
All right, we talked about the Frank Gore. This is it. And I'm going to get the guy from UCF, the rookie, the exciting running back. I'm going to get Marlon Mack. I mean, they're saying this guy can be kind of Tevin Coleman there. And if he is anything like Tevin Coleman, I'm all in on it because he is way more talented than Frank Gore will ever be. All right, Mike Wallace off the board. And I feel like his stock really took a hit with Jeremy Maclin coming into town. Jeremy Hill, how far has he fallen? Jeremy Hill is...
Oh, my God.
I mean, dude, he had his chance last year to be the guy, and he showed you every reason why he's not the guy anymore.
Gio's still on the board, and I would have taken Gio over him, and that's ridiculous. Jeremy Hill, I think, in my eyes, is undraftable. Eric Ebron is just pretty much unsavory. Got a kicker... Oh my God! Kicking a defense back to Tyrod Taylor. These picks are just things that are happening. I'm not sure why they are going on. Then O.J. Howard. All right, a respectable pick to talk about. All right, that's some upside there.
I like O.J. Howard.
If you're looking to take O.J. Howard on your bench and just sit there and see what he's got, I think that's the move to make.
I mean, this guy's got Tyler for 2. I would have loved to see him make a little bit more of a conservative backup tight end play than a rookie. Just because Eifert has yet to play 16 games in a season for his career.
Yeah, he probably should have secured himself like a Hunter Henry or a Doyle or hell, even like a Zach Ertz, I guess.
All right, so I'm going to go back-to-back rookie running backs here. And I'm going to get Alvin Kamara. I mean, this guy could have an early on third down role. But I'm really hoping basically that either Ingram and or Adrian Peterson get injured or just completely fall out of phase with the coaching staff, which apparently Ingram can do. So Evan Kamara, I mean, he's a pretty exciting player there.
Yeah, I took a couple picks, and I'm not really, I love me sexy on Mark Ingram and Jonathan Stewart, but I got him late as hell, so I don't really feel all that bad about him. All right, what we got dialing up here? What we got?
Darren Sproles. Rashard Perriman, who I feel like also took a humongous hit with the Macklin. People were kind of getting up on that Perriman hype, played well late last year, but I really don't know how much the field he's going to see. Deion Lewis there in the 13th. So who are you looking at here?
I don't know. It's kind of throwing dart territory. I'm thinking Brandon Marshall might be, maybe Brandon Marshall's cooked. Maybe this guy's still on the field, and they play a lot of 3 wide receiver sets, which they're probably going to do up in the Meadowlands. I'm going to take some Sterling Shepard, who had a great rookie season. This is the late 13th, and I am in love.
If Brandon,
with some high upside of Sterling Shepard here, he's forgotten child out there.
He is. If Brandon Marshall did not get signed there, there's no way this guy's not getting taken
sixth or 7th round. Easy.
There's no way. I mean, this guy was getting drafted in the 7th, 8th round last year. Had a very respectable rookie year, and now his stock's in half.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
And Brandon Marshall comes to town, and all of a sudden,
I mean,
I don't know. I think this guy's still going to be on the football field a lot out there.
You're taking guys like Adam Thielen and Sterling Shepard, the 12th and 13th round. They're both guys who are going to see your lineup throughout the week, throughout the season there.
Well, they could help me out there, win a couple of sneaky games. We got Terrence West. We got some Carson Wentz. Jared Cook, and a couple of kickers and we got back to me here. I'm going to take a guy we just talked about a couple rounds ago, and the Jeremy Hill selection was taken, and I think if anybody who just comes from the depths of the sea and resurrect everything and make all these other, taking Joe Mixon in the 4th look terrible. We're talking about taking Giovanni Bernard here in the early 14th round, and I mean, my goodness, you take a guy like this, and if he doesn't do what you think he's going to do within the first month or so, then you cut his ass.
I mean, they did sign him to a deal. Like, I think it might have even been last year. Last year, the year before, they signed him to a 3-year deal, so they do think he's in the picture. Obviously,
I think he's guaranteed playing time when he's healthy over Jeremy Hill.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think Jeremy Hill would be borderline roster cuts for him.
Who we got here? We coming back.
All right, back to me.
Couple kickers, and to you.
I'm going to go strictly upside here. I'm going to say Sammy Watkins continues to do absolutely nothing. And besides that, I don't even know who they got for receiver. They would get Woods.
Robert Woods left
Woods
town.
Is out of there.
Out there in L.A.
So I'm going to get Zay Jones, the rookie. This is the 4th rookie in a row and the 5th out of 6 picks. I'm taking rookies. This is upside deluxe. I mean, Zay Jones, who knows? He could be the guy to own in Buffalo.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, the kicker run, which is Julius Thomas was worse than the kicker run.
There's reports that offensive coordinator is saying he's going to get 10 touchdowns.
They go in Miami.
Peyton Manning is not your quarterback. I know that Gase messaged him and tried to see if he was available down the season last year, but
that's absolutely ridiculous. That was such a reach. If those text messages are true, Gase is kind of a buffoon. Taylor Gabriel just went. That's not too bad of a dart. Kevin White, hating on the Bears. Not sure he's
the number 1 wide receiver in Cleveland, Kenny Britt.
Somehow, some way, this Dick Chops is gonna get 80 balls for 1,000 yards and made me hate myself.
There's the Robert Woods we were talking about, going to the Rams.
Number 1 back-to-back, number 1 dog shit receivers right there. And Kenny Britt, Robert Woods, for their respective teams of terribleness, who might have combined for like 3 or 4 wins on this season. Oh my goodness!
I mean, if we're talking, I'm on this rookie roll. Why not throw another rookie tar in the 15th round? I'm talking Dante Foreman from Houston, and who says that Lamar Miller continues to struggle, and they put the big 240-pound running back in there and hash it up the middle? I mean, O'Brien might like that grinding pound, 240-pound guy up
I'm
there.
not in love with Lamar Miller. That's a great dart throw right there. Another Houston guy right after you, and Will Fuller. Another decent dart throw. Started the season hot.
I do like it.
Charles Sim, which I think, his ceiling is just so low that I can't really fall in love with it. All right, I'm up here, and I'm going to take I'm taking too many rookies, but I'm going to take Evan Ingram, who I think could turn into the Marcus Colston of about 10 years ago for you, and somehow, some way, he's listed as a tight end, and he's not even playing tight end, and I'm in love with it. At the end of the draft.
Yeah, I feel like
the only pick that matters at the end of the draft, I think, is Rex Burkhead, because I don't know, I'm alright with that.
Yeah, I feel like he could be a guy.
Mr. Irrelevant Rex Burkhead, I like it.
I mean, Hugh Jackson said he was one of the best running backs he ever coached.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, his running backs were bad,
toot, that motherfucker. Oh, Jesus Christ, Jesus.
I mean, Evan Ingram, me personally.
Tell me lies.
Evan Ingram is a guy that I'm probably putting a little star next to on every single one of my draft boards, just because I feel like Evan Ingram, if there's one guy at the tight ends that's going borderline undraftable that can just explode onto the scene, it could be this guy. I mean, this guy's an athletic freak. This guy ran a 4.3. If this was a wide receiver, we're talking he would have been like the 5th or 6th fastest wide receiver at the combine.
Boom, Evan Ingram, boom.
And he's a tight end. I mean, he's not going to block people. He's not going to do it.
No, it's not. He
may
never be in a three-point stance.
I mean, he's going to be a matchup nightmare for opponents. He's going to be playing in the slot all day long. And I think he's going to get some serious red zone action in there. I kind of feel like they brought in Brandon Marshall just to kind of help Evan Ingram into this role.
Yeah, he might get some. I think they're gonna do a lot of 4 receiver sets, and it's gonna be Odell, it's gonna be Marshall, it's gonna be Sterling, and it's gonna be Evan Ingram. I'm feeling it.
All right. So once again, we're gonna talk a little bit about our listener league here. Yeah. We already got one pretty much full. But that will not stop us from creating a second one if a whole bunch of other people that we absolutely love out there, if they want in on it, we will take all your emails, and if we get enough, we will send you all the invites to the league.
Yeah, if we get 10 to 12 more people interested, we have no problem with starting another league. I know we don't have another shit gun to get away with. We will come up with something. We will definitely rock the jerseys. We will rock the koozies. All the Z's out there are coming for you. And we might even throw in, just in case of the shit gun, we might break out like a Tanker's hoodie or something.
No, that's crazy.
I don't know. We might get sexy.
That's not even been discussed before.
I haven't even discussed it with them. So if you're still watching now, the whispers are in. If we get 12 people in, the sexy prize will be the Tinker's hoodie. In the other league. Shotgun this league, Tankers in this league. Can't be in both leagues.
Incredible. Except for us.
Yeah, we're going to be in both leagues.
I really want to win that.
My fucking hoodie.
I want to win that Tanker's hoodie.
Fucking my hoodie. Fuck off.
But once again, subscribe below. We got a Facebook too if you want to give that a like, but you don't have to. We are more in love with the friends. Tell your friends to subscribe. Check us out. We love all you guys. We're so excited to get into these leagues with you. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Comment below.
We love all the comments.
All in. Let's go. We will comment back to you. We will definitely reply. All in, people. Check us out.
See you next time.